My name is Joe Owen. I live, breathe and teach leadership skills. In this programme, I'm going to find out why a deputy head considering headship is finding it difficult taking the final step. The question is, could she really do it? To find out, I'm going to throw her to a panel of education experts who will ultimately decide, does she have what it takes to be a head? In preparation for the big day, I'm going to shadow her to examine her leadership skills. I will analyse her drive and motivation, and then I'm going to send her to a leader outside of education to find out what it takes to be at the top of your game. Will she then be ready for headship? Only the panel can decide. Philomena Cozens has been a deputy head teacher at St Clair's Secondary School in rural Essex for the past 6 years. With just 2 weeks before she meets my panel of experts, I've come to identify exactly what's holding Phil back. Is it her skill or is it her will?
Nice to meet you.
Phil, very nice to meet you.
Would you like to come to my office?
Great, thank you. Before my examination begins, I need to get to the crux of Phil's situation. Do you want to be a head?
Well, I think whatever job you're involved in, if you feel you have the capacity, you do want to have a shot at the top job, and I think I could really make a go of it.
Phil's busy schedule gives me the perfect opportunity to shadow her and get the insight I need. First stop, break time duty.
I've just seen somebody throw a bottle, I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right, now watch you throw that bottle, so I'd like you now to pick it up and put it in the bin, please.
I'm finding it hard to see what's holding Phil back. She seems to have all the skills. Maybe it's her motivation. Let's find out by talking to some of her colleagues. So where is Phil on the journey to headship?
If she wishes to take on headship, she has the capabilities to do that.
If she thinks that's where her career path will go and that's the right position for her, she'll want to do it. I don't think she'd want to do it for her ego or desire to be in charge or for the financial gain.
After lunch, it's back to the office for some management meetings.
This is Joe Owen, and he's shadowing me for the day. I hope you don't...
Taking the step to headship is undoubtedly a large one, and to do it, you've really got to want it. If Phil wants to become a head, her colleagues think she can do it. Perhaps she can do it, but can she show it? It's the end of the day, and I need to get to the bottom of what's really stopping Phil taking the final step. What do you see as some of the downsides of being a head teacher?
I think it's a lonely job, that you have the ultimate responsibility for what goes on, and it's such a broad responsibility running a school.
Different things motivate different people.
Yeah.
Fame, power, recognition. What is it for you?
I think that's quite complicated because I don't think I'm motivated by things like that. I still feel I have a vocation.
Let's just look at another head teacher talking about what's motivated them to do this. And I'd just like to get your reactions to this.
The capacity to have vision is at the heart of what being a head teacher is all about.
There is a time when you feel, I want to run a school,
That you get to the point where you want
to set out your own stall, and that probably is the right time.
Reactions.
That certainly resonates.
Most leaders are archly ambitious, and there is that animal drive to say, I am going to be the leader.
Isn't that a very male view of leadership?
No, it's a research-based view of leadership. Now, having said which, a lot of leaders are male.
I don't think it's necessarily the case that you have to be personally ambitious to be a successful leader. I think teaching is very different, isn't it? Because I feel successful with my children. The children I've taught have passed at a particular level. So it's their success really that I'm enjoying and basking in. I think you have to be ambitious for the organisation you're leading.
Phil is clearly confident and comfortable as a deputy. I think it's time for her to meet a leader in another field to help her decide, is she ready for the top job? With just 1 week to go before Phil faces the panel, I want to see if a day spent with a leader driven by a passion for her work will show Phil a way forwards. I'm sending Phil to spend a day with Sarah Weir, Chief Executive of the Arts Council, England.
I'm looking forward today immensely. I'm looking forward to meeting Sarah Weir, shadowing her throughout the day and looking for the same sort of leadership issues that we face in school.
Giving up a successful career in the city, Sarah came late to the arts.
Thanks.
Her knowledge of business, coupled with a passion for the arts, has made her a powerful leader in her field.
What we might do is just have a quick chat about what the day is going to look like.
As a strong female role model, I think Phil will find her especially inspiring.
Headship's very particular in that you're isolated so much.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
are you isolated in
Yes.
your role here?
You always are in the senior roles, and I think that's one of the things that particularly women need sort of support.
So do you think it's more difficult for women in leadership than it is for men?
I think it's different. I think women tend to be more consensual because women, I think, in general tend to have less ego than men. So they actually want to see people doing well. For you, I assume that you want your school to do well. But I'm doing my job because I believe passionately in the power of the arts to transform people's lives. Now, that's not a goal for an individual person, it's a goal for something much bigger than that.
So you can be personally driven by
Yeah.
that, which is not the same as
Exactly.
ambition.
Exactly.
And again, it's about bringing a community with you, isn't it?
But I think that is ambition. Maybe it's just the words. It's a different way of looking at ambition, isn't it?
Next stop is a staff briefing about the Olympics. This is a great chance for Phil to witness Sarah using her passion to communicate her vision.
The Olympics is based on the notion of Olympism. That means the interplay between culture, education, and sport. It's about the wholeness of a human being, about the mind, body, and spirit.
Once the meeting is over, Phil is keen to learn more about the leadership skills needed to make it to the top job.
So Sarah, what do you think the qualities that a good leader needs?
I think possibly first and foremost a strong sense of themselves and a sense of how they can be in many, many different situations, which is probably being prepared for the unexpected, enjoying people, enjoying ideas, enjoying pulling things together. Most of all, you need to be very passionate, very determined and driven. I think most leaders are.
I get the sense that goes through everything that you do, that you start off with a vision and a sense of purpose that drives you forward. But I don't know whether I have the clarity of leadership that you have.
Well, I'm absolutely quite sure that you have. I was just thinking to myself, my God, but you're already doing the job. I think she's sort of there. It's quite interesting, just being with her and talking to her. I think she's sort of doing that job.
The experience of today has made me feel that I'm closer to taking the steps to potential headship.
I've spent time with Phil at work, I've sent her to a leader at the Arts Council, and now I've put together a panel of experts to see how far she's moved on her journey to headship. Phil obviously has the skills, but can she show she has the motivation and the passion to make it to the top job in education? My carefully selected panel of education experts from governing bodies, industry recruitment, and outstanding schools are going to find out. This is Phil's moment of truth. My selection panel is next door, and I'm going to watch her from inside here. What I want to see is, can she convince the panel that she's got the motivation to be a head teacher and that she can deal with all those tough issues that head teachers have to deal with?
Good morning.
Hello. We've got a set of questions to ask you, which we'll take it in turns to do so.
Why do you want to be a head? Do you want to be a head?
Yes, I do want to be a head teacher. I want to be a head teacher because I think I can make a difference. I love working in school. I love working with young people. I love their energy and their enthusiasm. And I think if that's challenged appropriately, you can make a difference to the lives of young people.
Excellent.
All of that I can agree with, but there are some downsides of headship.
One of the difficult things about headship is the isolation. One of the things that's been really good is the way head teachers support each other, and I think that that's what I'd look for.
Could you please talk to us about your vision?
Well, I want to be the head teacher in a school where every child matters and every lesson counts, where everybody...
She's saying the right things, but she needs to say it with passion.
Yeah, just as you're answering there, your reasons for wanting to become a head teacher, working within a school, the energy of the kids, this vocation. Could it not just be achieved by being a good classroom teacher? So why do you want to become a head teacher?
Ooh, tricky question.
Obviously, I have worked as a classroom teacher, but I've always, wherever I've worked, contributed to the whole school and felt that I could make a difference and make the organisation better.
Well, how would you relate to the students and get them motivated and passionate about education?
That's quite difficult when you're the head teacher because a lot of that is done on your behalf by the teachers in the classroom. But I do believe...
Didn't nail it.
...working with young people and not that they feel that things are being done to them.
Well, thank you very much, Phil.
OK, thank you.
Let's see if that was enough to persuade the panel.
Can we imagine Phil as a head teacher?
Her interview was quite good, but I thought she would lack the leadership skills to kind of have authority amongst the school.
Right. What about you, Martin?
Some very good answers, but in some places, in some key places, they were a bit thin.
Margaret?
I have some hesitations about whether she understands the whole job.
Well, I suppose in summary then, she had some very good, pleasant ideas, but what we lacked was a feeling of somebody with a grand vision.
I've heard the verdict of the panel. Now it's time to give Phil my verdict. How are you feeling?
Fine, thank you.
How did it go?
I thought it went quite well, actually.
Good. Let's just go through some of the impressions that I picked up and some of the panel picked up. I thought a lot of your answers were just technically sort of very good, very sound answers. At one level, they're actually the answers that I think anyone would expect, and that's the danger. I think the challenge is often to get the extra level of detail and granularity, maybe just from personal experience, which also gives you the chance to talk with your heart as well as your head. So let's talk about what that means for you on your journey to headship. What it means is you've got the skills, you've got the experience. All you need to do is really think about, have you got the will and the motivation to be a head? But if you really want to do it, you can do it, and then you just need to show it.
Well, I found it really useful, actually. Joe provided me with some really excellent advice. I think he was absolutely right about my providing more detail in some of the answers. So yeah, it's given me a lot to think about, and I think it will help me when I do actually go for interview, not to make those mistakes in an actual real life situation.